and I'll never back down. In the middle of the ring is where I lay the smack down. Against all odds, I will always prevail. So when you step to me, it's like hell in a cell.
Greetings and salutations, this is Christopher Daniels. I'm talking to my main man Delzinski right now. Any video game show, any video game channel, any YouTube channel called Vintage Shizzle is indeed hashtag Daniels approved.
Yo! Alright guys, Delzinski here. Welcome to another We Talk Weekend. And as per usual, I am joined by my partner in crime, Smack Talks. How are you doing, mate?
I'm doing well, man. How's you?
Very good, unless we talk about TNA, which we might do this week, so then I might kind of get a bit more heated up.
Well, you always do when we talk TNA. It's always a bad way to go.
I know, it makes my blood boil just a little bit at the moment, but you know, other than that, I'm very good. I thought Monday Night Raw was quite good, actually, to be honest with you.
It was a good show this week. Quite enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm loving what's going on with Sting. Seems like their WWE are keeping with the push of Sting, which is always a positive, so I'm happy with that. And also, you know, New Day have kind of just taken over, so I'm thinking to myself, New Day are doing good. And I don't know whether this is a good thing or not, but possibly the Lana storyline could be coming to the end as well.
Do you think so? Or do you just hope so?
I hope so.
It could be she's out with an injury, so if she's written off TV, hopefully they kind of bring an end to the angle.
Yeah, so I mean, nothing major towards Lana, but you know, possibly with her being injured, that could kind of push this Rusev Dolph Ziggler cluster out the way just a little bit. So, I mean, this week we've got loads to talk about, and we are going to be talking a bit about TNA because big news this week was that Kurt Angle won't be re-signing with the company, so we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how epic the New Day have become, because, let's be honest, they rock. They certainly do.
Absolutely rock. We had like Edge and Christian on Austin this week, and the New Day kind of remind us of like Edge and Christian with like comedy moments with a kazoo, like coming out with like trombone and everything now.
I loved it. I loved every second of Monday Night Raw. Any segment that the New Day were in, I was a fan of. So that's awesome. And lastly, we're going to talk about Lana as well, in terms of that injury and where does it go. Also, maybe touch a bit on Sting and Rollins because that's heating up nicely. So yeah, quite a busy We Talk this week. Yeah, we're gonna kick off with a bang because when we talk about TNA, as I said, usually get a little bit heated. But Kurt Angle not re-signing with the company. Probably going to say this is a massive loss for TNA because it sounded like Destination America kind of signed TNA on the basis that Kurt Angle was a main feature. So adds more fuel to the rumours that Destination America might not re-sign TNA. So it's bigger than just Angle going. It's more maybe a deciding factor on whether or not TNA stays on Destination America.
It could be, because like, Angle is one of the big names that they've got. One of the like few big names that they've still got left. So if you take him out of the roster, then it's a lot of like new guys. And then you've got Jeff Hardy, Matt Hardy. There's not a lot of other like huge star potential there. So I think in terms of him going, then it is like maybe a big deciding factor for Destination America on whether or not they keep it going. And especially when there's been all these rumors saying that they've cancelled program post Bound for Glory. Even though they have like mentioned that they're going to have an Impact Wrestling show on, I think it's something like the first week of October now. So that's the only one that they've actually got scheduled. But TNA haven't actually recorded anything for it anyway. So I don't know where they're going to get content from it. But it makes you kind of think that these could be the very last times that we see Angle in TNA at Bound for Glory.
Yeah, well, it's... The thing is with Kurt is there's been quite a few times where I thought he wasn't going to re-sign and he actually did. And I think last time round when contract negotiations went on was probably the closest I thought that he would have been to going out the door. Because there was hints that the WWE wanted to bring him back at the time. And from what I understood, it was close, but Triple H wanted him to go full-time and Angle didn't want to. TNA offered him a part-time deal, probably good, significant money. And also, he was going through those issues with rehab as well. So TNA, again, looked out for him in those aspects, whereas WWE were a lot more business-like. And I think Kurt Angle declined it on that basis. I think Angle didn't like the fact that, considering he's Kurt Angle, which is quite a big deal, the WWE didn't really come across very lenient, and it was more Triple H calling the shots than it was Vince McMahon in regards to Angle returning. So I think he may have a little bit of a grudge there last time round, and that's what made him re-sign with TNA. Now, obviously, from that point, TNA wasn't in that deeper trouble back then, but it really is in deep trouble now, and maybe Angle's seeing the writing on the wall, thinking it's probably time to leave the sinking ship. And I think he's been a really good servant to TNA, to be honest with you. TNA have given him some really good storylines. He's enhanced the company quite a lot being with TNA. I don't think there's an awful lot more he can achieve in TNA. So if he is going to go away, I'd probably agree and say it's the right time for him to go. It's massive for TNA. It's a massive loss. I mean, they can publicise he's going to have a few more appearances, but they've got to be thinking and scratching their heads now. What draws have they got as part of their company at the moment? What major draws? EC3? That's about it. So, yeah, it's frustrating, but it's kind of becoming the case of now you're beginning to realise how bad a trouble TNA is actually in.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Especially when like you look at all the like Destination America sort of advertising for the show, it always seems to center around Kurt Angle being that American hero, because it kind of like plays to the whole network. But if you take him out of it, like you've just said, I think EC3 is one of like the big upcoming guys. He's someone that is really like a breakout star, I think, this year. But him alone, he kind of carried the company. And I think Angle's kind of realised now that it is the right time to walk away. It was probably the right time to walk away last year. And I was surprised that he didn't after the Hall of Fame stuff. But I think it's probably hit him now that TNA is in so much trouble and it's not doing him any good. He's given everything that he can to the company. There's not much else he can do. And in terms of his age, he's only going to have like a few more years maybe of going at the very top level. And the best that he's going to get out of that is if he goes back to the WWE. But I think what he needs to do is just take some time off first and just kind of make sure that he is 100% healthy. Because even if he tried to pursue like a new contract with the WWE, the way that the doctors are, they won't pass him to like wrestle in a match when you get like Daniel Bryan saying he's healthy and yet he still kind of get passed. So I think what Angle really needs to do is just take that time off, recuperate, look for a contract, but try not to rush into it. Just take your time with it and make sure that it's right for you.
Yeah, he really does. He really needs to take some serious time out, because I think when he's had injuries at TNA, he's kind of just come speeding back because he is the draw. I imagine that's probably Destination America saying we need Kurt Angle on TV. You need to get him on. You need to get him on. So, yeah, he definitely needs a rest. But touching on the WWE side of things, Angle's the sort of guy, though, that if you remember when he left WWE, it was like he was retiring because of his neck injuries. He wasn't going to be doing any other wrestling. And then it went kind of quiet, and then all of a sudden, boom, he arrived at TNA. It was like probably one of the biggest shocking signings, and it was probably one of the marquee signings that TNA have ever made. So, you know, could it again be that sort of case where Angle hypes up that he's not going anywhere, and then we see a shock return at, for example, the Royal Rumble or something like that? Because to me, that's the way that Angle, I imagine, envisages how he could come back. He probably wants it to be a huge bang that he comes back. Much like I think when we've seen in the past, like a Hogan shock appearance at WrestleMania or something like that. Not a Batista style one where it's promoted heavily on the network and stuff that Batista is coming. I think that he wants, if he does have his return, it to be kind of out of nowhere. So it wouldn't surprise me if we do see Kurt Angle on WWE TV again. I mean, there's no even hint or sniff that Angle is going to sign with the WWE at the moment. So don't read into it that there is. But it wouldn't surprise me if at, I don't know, a month or so's time, we start hearing the rumours and potentially then something does come about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Even if he doesn't like return straight away and do like actual wrestling matches, then I can see him like going into like a Legends contract like Sting did, where he done like things on the network. So he's doing like interviews. There'll be so many like different DVD packages and Blu-rays that they can put out on Angle. So it'd be great to get him under contract and then just get him like in to do kind of segments where he can like talk you through what he was going through at the time when he made his debut, all different kinds of things like that. And they're always like things that I look forward to. So if they don't go down the sort of rushed route of bringing him into the Rumble and having that shock factor and him return, I would love to see him like just do that and kind of put out like a couple of programs on the network about him, just hype up Angle, and then bring him in for like a big match further down the line once he's had that time to rest.
The thing is, as well, with Kurt, is he's quite a different character in TNA to what he was in WWE, because in WWE he always had that kind of comedy side as well. He had that, you know, he's the Olympic gold medalist, what was it, the three eyes, and all sorts of stuff like that. And WWE had a bit more of Angle's persona come out in him with those comedy aspect, whereas I think in TNA, he's been a lot more serious. Like it's all about him being the Olympic gold medalist. I think he did main event Mafia. He was very stern and stuff like that. No nonsense. So it will be quite nice to see the angle of WWE and how they did it.
Which do you prefer? Which angle, TNA or WWE?
It's kind of difficult, really, because I did really enjoy the Austin Angle segments. They used to crack me up, like if you ever remember
the backstage ones on Raw.
Yeah, don't you ever remember when Austin had the guitar and he bought Vince McMahon a hat and he bought Kurt Angle a little hat?
Well, that's what you missed out on Austin's podcast this week. You could have relived that with Austin with the guitar and the hat.
See, that's what I mean, though. They were the segments and stuff that I sort of really enjoyed, but not just that. I loved with even do you remember when Brock Lesnar and Kurt Angle with the whole rivalry that they had, where it was like they were trying to outdo each other, and I think there was a stage where Kurt Angle downed like a pint of milk and then actually spat it all over one of the backstage staff because Brock Lesnar smacked him on the back. So you know there was. That side of things you don't get in TNA at all, and that's not just saying that wasn't my favourite bit of all of it, because I think as well his technical ability in the ring is never ever been questioned. So it's difficult to kind of sum up exactly what my favourite part of Kurt Angle is, but I appreciate both. He puts on tremendous matches and he's entertaining as well. He doesn't have to just be dead serious.
Yeah, I think that's like the thing that come over though in WWE. Like the entertaining side really did come out. Whereas, like, you haven't really seen that in TNA. It's been more about Angle and his matches and being that great wrestler. And he's always put on some, like, amazing matches regardless. But I really like the sort of side of him that we're seeing in WWE with, the comedy stuff as well. The stuff he done with Edge and Christian as well. So I kind of like the whole sort of everything, really, with Angle that he's done. It's hard to balance the two. But I think if you put them together and get kind of a mix of that, if he was to return to WWE, so they do have little bits of the comedy, but also that serious side of him where you can get in there and put in like a really great match. I think it'd be awesome just to see him back in the WWE ring.
I think that's the issue with TNA, because TNA went down that route when he first arrived, that he had that feud with Joe, and it was really like it was all about wrestling. It was about, you know, I think Joe was undefeated at the time, and Angle came in, I think took his undefeated streak and beat him. So that from there onwards, it was always about Angle being the technical wrestler, you know, being the machine that he is, the cyborg that they call him now. So, you know, I think they missed a trick with not allowing him to have that side. And if you think about Angle in terms of TNA in general, the other thing to note on him is how emotional it must have been being in TNA for all this time. If you think about all the turmoil that he's actually gone through in TNA, like for example, Karen Jarrett now used to be Karen Angle. I went through all of that, and actually, to be honest, I don't know how he stuck all that out. I would not have wanted to have had storylines like that where it's about your family, because they were kind of real scenarios. That for me kind of crosses the line, as TNA would say. I don't really like that sort of stuff. They were the sort of things that I thought devalued Angle quite a lot, having that, you know, the whole family feud with Jeff Jarrett put out there on everybody to see. And I think that's why Angle kind of went off the rails a little bit, with all of this, that pressure that was put on him with the storylines that kind of entwined into his life. And WWE are kind of a bit more careful to probably balance that out a bit better if they did have him. I don't ever remember him having a storyline that got that personal, that dug into his life that much.
Yeah, it's like a testament Angle for like what he's actually gone through, because it must be like a really, really hard situation to go through them story angles where it involves your family, especially when you've got young children in there as well.
Yep.
So I think it is just a real testament to Angle for going through it. And I think a lot of it worked. So I think it was good segments. It's been good to watch. But like I say, it's just really hard to kind of go through them angles if you're in that position.
He's done really well in TNA. He's definitely pushed them forward, and I think they've done him a few favours as well. If you think about travelling and stuff, it's probably one of the reasons why he walked away from WWE with the injuries, the travel schedule, and all that sort of stuff, giving him that part-time role. So it has been, a relatively good relationship. But now it seems the writing's on the wall in terms of TNA, and it is right that he walks away. I don't know if you saw this on WWE.com, but I think they're advertising at the moment superstars that have retired and should have one more match. Have you seen this?
I haven't seen the article, but I've seen it may have been like the Hardy Boys. They've been like getting quite a bit of coverage lately. Yeah. Even the Austin podcast, Wedge and Christian, like they were bound to come up. So like them, the Dudleys and the Hardys, they were mentioned like quite a lot in the TLC matches. And I've seen like a lot of articles recently just going on there now, one more match. Like I can see Scott Steiner, Jeff Hardy, Goldberg.
Do you not find it interesting that they say like retired quite a bit when these superstars aren't retired? Scott Steiner's not retired. He's still wrestling, wrestles for GFW. Jeff and Matt wrestle for TNA.
Wait, he's retired from WWE.
Retired?
Yeah, you can kind of spin it that way, I guess. They're not going to acknowledge TNA. We've had this conversation last week.
I know, but retired is not the right word, is it really?
It just grinds you down, doesn't it?
Well, it's just stupid. It doesn't make any logical sense to say people have retired when they haven't. Just saying.
I get where you're coming from. It's just like from a company aspect, like they're not going to acknowledge like what they're doing at the moment because you don't want to like put that other company over, and especially when it's in a like position where we're talking about it could be coming to an end. The last thing you want to do is try and give them a little boost.
But I'm not a superstar. But if I'm a superstar looking from the outside in, I haven't retired. You're saying I've retired. I've not retired.
It's just a play on words. That's all it is.
I don't know. Don't think they should use that terminology. If you haven't physically hung up your boots, you haven't retired. In my point of view. Just saying. Hashtag. Well, just saying.
I say retired from WWE. That's how I see it. Well, I'm not going to get carried away with this. I'm not going to rant like you do.
All right, calm.
No.
I don't know. I just sort of think to myself, it's interesting that they're promoting it as well, that they're putting it out there quite a lot. So whether or not they're thinking about trying to re-sign these guys, if TNA does go belly up, that would be interesting to see. I really don't want to see Scott Steiner have one more match, though. I'll be honest with you. Wasn't the Triple H versus Scott Steiner feud bad enough?
I never want to see Steiner wrestle again.
So it's Big Papa Pump was good back in the day, but yeah, not so much now. It's not.
Who would you want to see Angle wrestle one more match against?
I'd like to see Angle Lesnar. Don't know if he could handle that though. Not sure he could handle those German suplexes. But
I don't know if his neck could handle it.
Well, that's what I mean. But it would be amazing to see German suplex versus German suplex, because Angle's just as good a master at it as Brock Lesnar is, and we all know how they tore the house down last time. So I think that's definitely a viable option.
I would love to see Bryan and Angle. That would be an amazing wrestling match, like in terms of like the holds. But I think I would also love to see Angle against Rollins.
That'd be good. That'd be good. A good contrast. The thing is, Angle can still definitely go, so you can't question that. He's in good shape. I know he's got his neck issues and stuff, but he can still move. He can still do it all. When I watched him in London at Wembley last year, and he won the belt, which was kind of amazing. That was pretty cool, to be honest with you. That he beat Lashley for the TNA World Championship. He put on a great show. It was an amazing match to watch. So, you know, you got to respect him. He can still definitely go. So I think WWE would be mad to pass on all the opportunities that Kurt Angle brings to the table. I would say as well that TNA have been mad to overuse him at times as well, though.
Yeah, well, that's like just TNA in a nutshell, isn't it? They overuse everyone.
Indeed. I mean, just to quickly touch on TNA a little bit more as well. I talked about this, I think, on my tweets this week. I mentioned that I've listened to 2 podcasts this week with Ric Flair. Ric Flair's podcast, the Woo Nation podcast. Check it out if you haven't seen it. But I listened to 2 of them. One was with Vince Russo. One was with Bruce Pritchard as well. And they touched on TNA a little bit because obviously Rick was there for a little while. Vince Russo was a booker there, so was Bruce. And they both, when they mentioned TNA, the minute they start talking about it, it's like how chaotic it is down there. And Russo's kind of interesting because I don't always buy into all the BS that Russo comes out with because he does talk quite a lot of BS. But there are some sides of him where I actually do think, well, to be honest, yeah, I agree with you. So if you think about when Russo came into TNA, they were doing well. They were doing well when Russo was doing all the booking down there. It only started going a bit pear-shaped when they started adding more bookers to the table. So I believe it was probably Russo and Jarrett that were booking at the time. And then you brought in Bischoff and Hogan. And Russo was saying in his on his podcast with Flair, he was saying, I was the head booker down there. I was booking everything. And then you brought in Bischoff and you brought in Hogan. And originally we had to pair up to write together. We didn't get on anyway. So that was kind of awkward. And then they found out later on that Bruce Pritchard was coming in, and Pritchard elaborates it on the podcast as well. But when Bruce Pritchard come in, Russo's then been told as well that you've got another guy coming in to work with. And by this time, Russo's probably thinking to himself, this is getting a bit much. So that's when Russo walked away because it was like, every time he'd done quite a good job originally and he had to take the hit from all these other creative people coming in. Pritchard, on the other hand, was saying that when you book with TNA, he'd book like a storyline for a period of time, and then it just got confused with all the talent because what would happen is he'd book something that he'd tell all the talent, this is what's going to happen next 6 months, blah, blah, blah. And then Dixie Carter would have words with someone else and change the storyline. And then talent would fall out of it. They wouldn't understand what's going on. And next thing you know, this whole storyline's come to an end. It's going a brand new direction. And I just thought, from a creative point of view, as a creative person like Russo, like Pritchard, it really shows the strain on what you've got to deal with down there because you're telling a person that doesn't really understand the wrestling business still. So she doesn't understand long builds and all this stuff because she just takes all this advice and then she goes with whatever she thinks is best. And 9 times out of 10, she's scuppering storylines and everything like that. And I thought it was a real interesting tale that, we're getting these bookers going on these podcasts and they are exposing. There's how many more people can say the same thing and the finger be pointed at Dixie Carter as she's the problem. She's always the problem. She doesn't know how to manage her own company.
It's just a booking mess, isn't it?
It is, but imagine if, from your point of view, if you're the booker, like, how would you feel if you were Russo? And I know Russo talks a lot of garbage. I've said that before, but how would you feel if you were the booker at TNA when it was at its prime, which it was? He was booking, I think, the X Division and how it was going and coming together. And, everyone says, when TNA first came around, how awesome it was. And, you're that guy. And then you find out that they've just signed Hogan and Bischoff and you've got to work with Bischoff and Bischoff wants to take things in a new direction. What's your initial feelings going to be? You're going to feel a bit pushed out, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when everything was going so well, to begin with. And then she brought in all these changes and it completely disrupted everything.
And that's the thing. And like I say, I was thinking, well, you never quite can trust Vince Russo and what he says. But then you have when I heard Pritchard saying the same thing, it was like, he was brought in to steady the storm as such. He was there to stop all the issues. But he said it was impossible because I try and lay out a storyline and then, next thing I know, Dixie Carter's changed the path of my storyline because she was told from someone else that they think they should do it that way.
Yeah, well, that's the last thing that you're going to want as a booker. You don't want to be putting everything in place and then have someone else brought in that completely changes your plans. It just throws everyone off. It throws yourself off, the talent off, and it just makes for car crash TV.
It does, and that's where it gets really difficult with TNA to try and stick behind it because that's going on. I think the best story that I heard on the podcast is probably the last thing I'll say on it was Russo said about. Do you remember Terror used to have a spider? Remember this?
Yeah.
Well, he said that this was the comparison he made to WWE. If you're and bear in mind it's Vince Russo, so these are the sort of storylines he would book, of course. But. In WWE, he said this is the difference with TNA and WWE. In WWE, if you asked for a tank or a rocket launcher or whatever, they would give you it a week later. So you know if you booked that someone's going to have a tank on the next episode, you'd arrive and the tank would be there. Done, right? Whereas in TNA, when he was trying to book storylines, for example, with Terra, they wanted the Spider. And the Spider was costing like $300 a week, yeah? Not because of the Spider, but because of the handler that had to handle the Spider, so they had to pay him. So he would say, he booked a storyline with Terra to progress with this Spider, and this was blah, blah, blah. It was going to go on for a few months and stuff. And next thing he's told, you can't do that anymore. And he's like, why? Oh, because we can't be paying $300 for the handler anymore. We've paid it enough.
That's ridiculous.
And he'd be like, so I've got to change the storyline now. And he'd be like, yeah. So, I mean, this is what I mean. Originally pitched to Dixie Carter, probably. She signed off. She said, yeah, go for it. He gets the sign off. He gets, the 300, whatever it is, to do it week in, week out. And then they've got, looked at the books and they thought, no, we can't afford that. We don't want that. Scup it. And that ruins the storyline. It's as simple as that. That's Vince Russo booking. I probably wouldn't have agreed of having a Spider in the first place, to be honest with you. But
well, I hate spiders, so I wouldn't.
But you know what I mean. If you think that you're going to have that resource for 6 months and then you're just told you can't, how the fuck do you book stuff like that?
Exactly. It's just bad business because surely what you would do before doing that is research it a bit. So if you knew it was going to be $300 per week, you would find out how long the storyline is going to go on for, what your total cost is, and then work it out to see yes or no. If you say yes, then you're committed to it. If you say no, it's going to be too much, then you don't have to go down that angle. You're not going to waste so much time putting together a whole storyline and then have to throw it away at the end of the day.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that's the way WWE do things. They'll schedule for 6 month period that they need to rent something. They'll measure the costs, and then they'll make sure that they can budget for it. Simple. So, the only reason why I brought all this up to add to our angle discussion is the basis that you can't point the finger at anybody else for killing this company. It's her bad decisions now. You can only point the finger one place. You can't say it's because you brought in 50 bookers. I said, Hogan and Bischoff kind of took the company down, but overall, she always signed the paper off for it.
Yeah, well, I think this is something we said either last week or the week before, and there's so many bad decisions, and it all comes down to Dixie. She's the one person that's still there and been there all this time, where everyone else that's been given the blame, like Russo and people, they've all left, they've moved on, and the problems are still there. Dixie's the one constant, and when you see that, you can't really come to any other conclusion than it's got to be a Dixie problem.
What was also interesting from it, and I completely agree with what you're saying, is that everybody says she's a nice lady.
Well, you can be a nice lady, but it doesn't mean you're a good businesswoman. Well,
that's what they were like. They were like, "Oh, she's a really nice lady, but when it comes to business, it's a shambles down there."
Well, look at Vince McMahon. I'm sure there's a lot of people over the years that would definitely not say he was a nice man, but he's a shrewd businessman. He knows what needs to be done for the business. And if it makes him look bad in the process, he's still going to do it if it's best for business.
Well, you can't always be nice. At the end of the day, you've got to be a bit ruthless. You've got to have that in you. Otherwise, you don't get anywhere. So, and I don't think she is. I don't think she's ruthless enough to make the cutthroat decisions. She bottles it up, and she has issues like AJ Styles leaving her because she didn't know what to do with him.
I think that's the main problem. I think when it gets to that situation and you kind of realize, I can't make these hard decisions, you need to bring someone else in, but then you need to step away from it. She kind of have both. Yep.
No, I completely, utterly agree. So, I mean, I think that is the best time for Angle to go. I just worry that that's the final sort of nail in TNA's coffin, really. The only other last thing I think, from just to get your view on it, Paul, is when you look at this Bound for Glory, is it Lethal Lockdown? Sorry, Lethal Lockdown. When you look at what they're building towards here, TNA versus GFW, do you understand why Dixie Carter is wagering her part of the company to be against GFW? Do you understand that? Because I don't. What does she have to gain? What is she gaining from this? Jeff Jarrett has it all to gain. He'll have GFW and TNA. She's not getting GFW if they win this. She just retains her company.
But that was actually a point that I was going to bring up with you. Like, it kind of just hit us like during the week when I was like watching the preview for like Impact, because I think it's next week when the match actually takes place, and I figured, well, hang on a second, if Dixie wins, then nothing really happens. Like GFW go away, but at the same time, it's her company. She can just get them escorted out of the building in the first place. Why does she need to have a match that puts her company on the line? I don't think it makes any sense whatsoever. There should be something where if TNA wins, then they get something from GFW, whether it's they can choose like a member of the GFW roster to come to TNA. Anything like that where there's something on the line, it makes more sense. But when there's nothing on the line, what's to gain from it?
Well, that's it. She's all of everything that she's doing is a risk. Like, she loses it all, and it's only for Jeff Jarrett to gain. It's not even smart booking again. Like, surely she should have come out and said, look, if I win, I get GFW, I get your whole roster.
But that would have made sense. It would have like put like a thing for people watching it to say, well, hang on a second, this is huge, because if TNA win, they get GFW. If GFW win, they get TNA. So like, regardless of what happens, I'm interested to see like how this goes down and what happens to the other company. Where at the minute it's just like, oh, hang on, if TNA win, then nothing really happens. So, what's the interest?
That's like I said, I think like yourself, that hit me like I think early this week, and I was just like thinking, what the hell? Like, because I can see her tweeting about it all the time, saying, "Oh, it's all on the line." It's like, well, you're stupid. Why is it all on the line for you? Why would you do this to yourself? Why would you risk your own company?
It's like she's walked into like a casino and she's put all her money on like black or white, and it's whether or not she wins or loses. Like, if she wins, she'll get something from that situation. She gets nothing from this.
Exactly. I mean, I think that brings us to our 30 minutes of fire on TNA.
I think we've done pretty well. We haven't got too worked up.
No, I think you kind of come to that conclusion that you can't fight this anymore. Like, for me, it's like, it's so hard to have accepted that they got this bad and they got to this stage. There's so many opportunities where she could have really reshuffled and fixed things, but she didn't. So
but she's had so many opportunities. Like, there's so many things where she's brought people in to change it. It just hasn't worked. So I think she just needs to step away and just leave it to someone else, like Jarrett.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. It's going to be interesting.
Hope TNA win.
I don't know. I imagine they will, to be honest with you. If they didn't, that would probably be worth a rant or two.
If they didn't, that would be amazing. If Dixie was just out of a job, TNA was gone, and so all GFW.
Weird. Just weird. I mean, let us know, everybody, via the comment section below, what you think of Kurt Angle. Do you think he can go WWE? Do you think he's still got it in him to do so? Do you think he still wants to do that? What do you think as well of TNA at the moment in terms of, obviously the GFW stuff, and how big an issue is it that Angle has decided to move? Do you think that's the final nail in their coffin? We've been saying it for a long time, but they still float their way through. So, let us know on the TNA debate, as per usual. I said to you could definitely have a weekly show on TNA just because there's just too much to rant about.
Yeah, could call it TNA awful.
Oh, that's a bit rude, isn't it not?
Well, it fits in with what's going on, doesn't it?
What are your fans called again? I think, what did you come up with? Someone tweeted you something quite interesting, I think, midweek.
I think the best suggestion I got was the Smack Pack.
The Smack Pack, yes.
It's better than the alternate.
It is. So I wonder what the Smack Pack think of it this week.
Be interesting to find out. Let us know in the comments.
Cool. Let's move on to something that is positive, because it definitely does embrace the power of positivity. And man, oh man, the New Day are just going from strength to strength. What I think the New Day show, and it kind of ties in with the name, is the new era of the WWE. And I think it kind of ties actually a little bit into the Angle stuff, is that WWE are very much open to having legends come in and out. Like, you've got Sting, so I wouldn't see that they would be open to taking Angle as well, and the Dudleys. But it's really nice to see that the New Day are like, because they get so much time and they're all over social media and stuff like that, it feels like that they are the sort of guys that WWE can look towards now and feel that this is the sort of gimmick that will carry the company forward. And introducing guys like the Dudleys only enhances them even more. And that's what I've found awesome about it. Like, Xavier Woods is just tremendous on the mic. He's just the best hype man going, I think, at the moment. He's a good wrestler as well. Let's not get it wrong, but
Good musician as well.
Another guy that TNA dropped the ball on. But, you know, it's having that. And then we've always felt positive that Big E could do better than what he did. And, you know, everyone got behind him when he won. I think it was the Intercontinental Championship. But they made him so stale in being like a boring babyface. And what he needed was something like this to really enhance his, you know, his persona, which he has. He's got a massive, big personality. And for Kofi, well, we're seeing a really, you know, we're getting to see Kofi again with proper personality. I mean, how long had he been stuck with his boring face gimmick? So I just love that we're getting to see three guys being, I think they're being themselves, to be honest with you.
Kofi face?
Kofi face? Kofi face.
It's good to see that he's getting that personality out, though, because like that is the one word that defines the New Day, personality. And like if you just said with Big E, like when he come through, because of his look, like I think they kind of felt they had to go down that route of making him kind of that big, powerful guy that doesn't really say much, but he just gets the job done. Where when you kind of see him in interviews or things that he's posting on Twitter, like there's a really cool video with him like Team BAD during the week.
I saw that.
And like there's so many things that he does like that where it's really funny. And when you see them embrace that, it just adds so much to it, and it adds to that character, and you kind of really get behind that character and enjoy what they're doing. It's so much better than just having them come out and get a win, look so powerful, and just not really connect with the crowd, where the one thing the New Day does is connect with the crowd, and it's so awesome to see.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying about that whole like sort of future, like youth movement. Like you saw them with Team BAD, with Sasha Banks. It was kind of like, was this the one where they did the Kiss from a Rose thing for the dance stuff for cancer research? Was it that one you saw? This
was like Big E standing in the parking lot.
Oh, I saw that one as well, yeah.
Yeah, that was a real good one. You have to link it in the description.
Yeah, it's just that's what I mean. That's where you get that feeling that these are the sort, they're bringing their own personality through. And I've got to say, it's kind of a little bit like I can imagine that this being more Triple H's era. Like you're seeing NXT being built and built and built, and you can only imagine that all these people that seem to be really hyped, all these superstars that are really involved, the more that the NXT guys come through, the more that is gonna just get better and better. That's the way I see things. I really think that Triple H is building this really amazing undercard section with NXT, almost like a product now that rivals the main one. And when they transition in now, it's almost like when they come up, it's like, oh great, Finn Balor's stepped up, welcome, and it's like he's in the pack now, and that's what I think's building and making a really good relationships inside the WWE. Like if we compare like a TNA locker room to a WWE locker room at the moment, I think you're going to find that the positivity that's in the WWE locker room with the buzz going on with what's going on in NXT is just going to be simply awesome.
It must be like such a contrast to like speak of WWE and like this light and how like good a mood the locker room's going to be in, and then compare it with TNA and like everything going on there, and it's just completely the opposite. Like if you get the chance, like Angle has to come to WWE just for that.
Yeah, and I think, and then like I say, there's a lot of people that were like, when we talked about Sting in the debate about him becoming world champion, and people saying, well, you don't want like the old man becoming the champ. But I always find that WWE are almost utilising these guys to enhance the other ones. So if a title did get dropped at some point, it would only then better someone later on. So like it's like a favour to get someone else in the mix or get someone else over. And I know John Cena always can be the exception to the rule, because if he loses one, he's got to win two. But I find that a lot of the time that's the way it's been. Like the Dudley Boys have been brought in, and they have only, I think, enhanced, and with Edge and Christian this week, enhanced how good the New Day are.
Yeah, absolutely. I think like in terms of like the tag team division, like bringing the Dudleys in just validates it, especially when you're putting them in the ring with like some of these new teams. And I think what we're in for here, like, is it this week coming on Raw that we see the Primetime Players get their rematch?
Yes, I think so, yeah.
So like whoever wins that goes on to Night of Champions to face the Dudleys. So I would say it's got to be the New Day. Like everything about them is just so good. And putting them in the ring with the Dudleys, it further validates them. So not only are they like this really good comedic team that we've been seeing over the last couple of weeks, but they're great in the ring, and getting a win over the Dudleys would actually like give them that validity.
Yeah, totally. Did you get the little Final Fantasy trumpet thing that he?
I certainly did. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was wicked. When he did that, I was like, that is Final Fantasy.
Bradshaw, JBL pointed out it's like something else, and I was like, no, you're totally wrong. That's definitely Final Fantasy.
And it is probably, when you look at what Xavier is like, you think that probably is it, because he's like a gamer, isn't he? So you get that feeling.
Well, he's got his up, down, down channel on YouTube, so like he is a big gamer, and I thought it was awesome. It's like something that only like a few people will get that's played it, but it was really cool to listen to.
Every time, was it battle scene when it was the finish?
It was like the victory noise, yeah.
It's good. It was wicked. And then that backstage segment was fantastic again, with Rollins as well. Like, you know, just the interaction of these superstars. It doesn't feel like, I'd say probably, you know, before when we were talking about Roman Reigns being wooden and like not being able to speak freely about, you know, I feel like it's almost like these guys have just been said, you know, we know that your gimmick's going well now, so just enhance it. Keep going, keep pushing. Rollins has been given the same. I think the more that we get to see Rollins being in his position as he is, like talking, and the whole thing with his statue, I think's really enhanced Rollins a lot as well. So I think the more they let these guys just be them, I don't believe it's the writing that's getting them over. I believe it's the characters.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know we're talking like New Day at the minute, but Rollins himself, the one thing that's hurting him for me is when he comes out and starts the show, and we've got like a 10-minute like prologue of Rollins just constantly saying the same thing. That really damages him for me.
But you don't like the ha-ha laugh.
But I like it when I'm catching up on Raw and I watch it in like 2 times the speed, because it's much more entertaining.
I thought the whole story unfolding of his statue was great. I loved it. I loved every single aspect of him trying to track down that statue. It was just hilarious. The stress that was behind it over this pointless statue. Why did he have this statue? I just thought it was great.
Does it not bug you though that he's so worried about the statue when like Triple H and that's pointing out, you know, you've got 2 matches at Man Night of Champions, you could lose both titles, and he's like, I want me statue.
Well, yeah, the grand scheme of things, he should be more worried about his titles, but the statue means a lot. I don't know. I think because it was entertaining, I kind of got derailed from the worry of his titles. But I mean, he does try to emphasize that he is stressed out at the moment. It's adding to his stress. I think he's a good. I think some people say that Rollins isn't the best talker, but I think he's a pretty damn good talker.
He is, but I think he can drown on, and as Cesaro would say, and on and on and on, and just over and again. It's the same thing every single week for me when I watch him like come out and cut these promos to begin with, and that's the kind of thing that kind of tires me a little.
Well, you could say that, but then you could have a guy like Ryback promos. So
the big guy.
Was that not the worst? Did you see his promo of Wenny? Renee Young? Did you not see that promo?
I did. It was awful, wasn't it? Was that the one where he got interrupted by Owens?
Kevin Owens, a.k.a. Carlito, with his apple.
Absolutely. That meme was class.
That promo, and I know we'll go back to New Day and how awesome they were, but that Ryback promo, I couldn't understand it. Was he trying to talk like third person or what? I didn't understand it. He was trying to do like sign language with meat hook clothesline. And I was like, but Renee's there. She's there. You can talk to her.
Yeah, it's an interview. He's got Mike there. Like the whole point is to like speak into it.
It looked like he was reading it from a board.
Yeah, but he was staring off into the distance, and like that just like kind of disconnects with like the audience. It was less meat hook than meat head.
And actually, to be honest as well, I think when he arrived, he said exactly what you said, when the big guy. And then it was like, excuse me? What? I just can't stand him. I hope Owens takes the belt off him.
I hope so. Well, he cost him a match on SmackDown, so like Ryback got a victory over Rollins on Raw, but Owens cost him the match against Rollins again in a rematch on SmackDown. So they're going that way.
See, I think that's a difference. It's like, I look at Ryback, I think his gimmick's manufactured a lot. I don't believe he's got any own saying in his own gimmick.
I don't know. I think
Oh, is that the best?
maybe
he can
that
do?
is Ryback.
Oh, it's bad. It's really. When I saw that promo, I was just like, what is this shit? Well, who is he talking to? Why is he looking over there? Why is he doing these like animated movements when he's just talking to Renee? It was just like everything about this promo is bizarre and not right.
Absolutely. I'm sure if you were talking to Rennie, you couldn't take your eyes off her.
No, so exactly. Where else are you going to look? You're not going to be gazing into the distance.
I wonder what he was looking at.
Auto cue. That's what he was
Absolutely.
looking at. It just, I don't know.
Buffet table.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, and the bit as well when he tried to get the crowd to say "feed me more" and they weren't really into it either was a bit naff. But I think it just like going back to New Day and stuff. It for me, it's just exciting to see these three guys week in week out because it probably ties in a bit with what we said about Angle being entertaining. It's the bizarre that makes it entertaining, like the whole thing with the dancing and the trumpet and all those sort of things, like things that you just think, what the fuck? Like, you're like, what? It's like, that's what makes it entertaining. The twist of the weirdness to it. It's like the booty, Biggie's booty, it's like, it should be something you just think is just, what is this? But you get behind it because it's different.
Absolutely. It kind of like goes to show like they can get away with these kind of things where like a lot of the time they'll go too far and we'll sit there thinking, what the hell we're watching? This is awful. But when they do it just right and it's the right people like the New Day, it works.
And it's been like a natural transition into it because we never liked the New Day gimmick from the offset originally. Like when they came in as face, this was destined for failure. So what it is, it's almost like a Rage Against the Machine that's been turned on its head. So, because this is what happens when they force it. Have you not noticed the Roman Reigns factor? Does Roman Reigns get booed nearly as much as what he did before? No. You want to know why that is? Because you've eased off him.
And he's got Ambrose with him.
I'll tell you what, if you saw the Superman punch that he did on SmackDown to Xavier Wood,
that was awesome. I enjoyed that.
So it just goes to show. That's the thing. If you ease off and you don't force feed us stuff, and you just let it progress on its own, and it always works. It always works. Hopefully.
It does. You don't need to force it. Just let it go naturally. And then if you need to like tweak something and adjust it, then the New Day is the perfect example of how to do that.
And it's been so simple to even get their like lines across, like New Day rocks and New Day sucks, and then you've got like get the tables, save the table. It's just been simple things that have just got them through. So it doesn't. You don't have to have something elaborate and ridiculous. You just got to let them do what they want.
Right. It's like I've always said, like if you get the crowd on your side and get them involved in like chanting something, whether it's New Day rocks or New Day sucks, just getting them involved and interested in the match, it shows that they're really behind that team, whether they're a heel or a face. And it's what a lot of people are missing. So like they won't come out and interact with the crowd. Whereas I watched like an Austin promo the other day, and everything he'd done, it was all in relation to the crowd. So you had them chanting what? You had them giving him a hell yeah. It was all interaction with the crowd. And it just, I think that's the thing that really gets you interested in not just a superstar, but a set of superstars when you've got that crowd participation.
The only thing I would say is if you do that, are you really a proper heel though? Because I think JR's got that thing where he says, if you're not being booed, you're not really like a proper heel, you're not doing your job.
But the New Day did. That's like the point when they first come through and they're telling everyone to say New Day rocks, and they got the complete opposite. That's still getting the crowd like behind them characters, even if they are booing them or saying they suck.
I think it's all about crowd participation, like you said. I think if you don't have any reaction from the crowd, that's the worst possible scenario. If you can get the crowd chanting along with you from a sarcastic point of view, like the New Day rocks thing and like the New Day sucks thing is like, whether you like them or hate them, it's going to be a chant that you're going to do 9 times out of 10. It's a bit like with the John Cena thing, John Cena suck stuff. It gets a reaction. As long as you've got the reaction. What New Day didn't get when they first came in was they didn't get any reaction because it was like, what is this terrible gimmick you've given them? So it's only taken them and their personalities to get the reaction.
Absolutely.
So I think as long as you can draw a reaction, it's great. That's the thing with like a Ryback that doesn't get the reaction. I know people chant feed me more, But does he get that good a reaction? Do you think? Does he make a reaction?
He kind of does. Like I still don't get it, but like when I was at SummerSlam and like the crowd
like
were all behind him, it was like, you know, there is that reaction there for him.
But I can't find I can't find the positivity to find something in Ryback that I like.
We'll have to speak to the New Day, find out what that positivity is.
Yeah, I don't know. I've kind of questioned that quite a bit. Like, I think to myself, what is it that people get behind Ryback for? Is it the power? Because that's all I can see. The strength, you know, the ability to lift people that you wouldn't expect and things. Otherwise, I don't see it.
Yeah, I think that is like the only thing really. Like what you said, like his promos, there's kind of the disconnect there when he doesn't even look at the camera. Everything else, I don't know. It's something that I've seen before, so I'm not personally interested in it. But then when he does pull off like feats of strength and that, it's good to see those. But aside from that, there's not too much else that kind of I want to see with Ryback.
Well, let's be honest. He has got a bit of an issue with who he wants to be. Like, you know, he acts like Goldberg and he dresses like RVD. So,
but he doesn't even like mix the two. We should be getting like him coming off the top rope and all things, but
a Rybackinator.
Yeah,
what the hell that would be? But there you go.
RVG.
So yeah, I mean, New Day for me is just stealing the show week on, week out. So we had to talk about how good they were, and those segments with the Dudleys are getting really, really good. So the only thing I hope is that the New Day retain.
I hope so. I can't see them like dropping the titles to the Dudleys this early. There'll be a point where like the Dudleys do get, I think it's the 10th WWE Tag Team Championship if they win it. So like, I think that'll definitely be the case. They'll like cement them as like probably the most decorated WWE team. Well, they're already, but like just the number 10, it kind of like just puts like a point on it.
Yeah, well, I think it's good that they came back in the end. I think they've the crowd reaction. It's because it's like a nod to the extreme side of things that we don't get that much. It's been good to have them back.
Do you think we're seeing like a bit of a change? Because a lot of the stuff that we've seen recently, it's not as PG as it has been. Like we've got all the table things coming back in. We'll have like what we're going to talk about shortly with like Summer and the shower thing with Ziggler. So there's like a lot more things like kind of on the edge.
Yeah, you could say that. I do think it is getting that way. I still think it's got a long, long way to go to get to where it's like edgy. But I like the product at the moment. I don't like. You have those moments when Lesnar comes back, and then it heightens it even more. So I quite like the product. There are bits I don't like what we're going to talk about with Lana, but the majority of it, like the Sting stuff, I think has been very well done. I think that the way that they've kind of, you know, made it infuriate Rollins, but they haven't made Sting look too silly, because you could go overboard and make him like the Joker Sting from TNA. And I think they've been very, you know, they've just done enough to give his personality out there. And I think as well with things like the New Day, which heighten things. I still think Raw should be a 2-hour show. I still don't think there's enough for 3 hours. Yeah. But I like the product at the moment. I think because we've seen all this push with NXT people coming up, I'm still not sure about the whole Divas revolution at the moment. I saw Sasha and Paige wrestle. I think, you know, it's getting a bit better, but it's still questionable why they're all still like looking after each other.
Yeah, I kind of get it. I like the position that we're in at the moment. Like in terms of what they're doing, we've got like so much variant in terms of we've got the tables back, we've got great wrestling matches, we've got some weird segments backstage, we've got all the like creepy stuff with Bray Wyatt.
Bray Wyatt stuff, just to touch on, has been amazing.
It has. It's like good to get that kind of mix in there as well, where I know it's not really supernatural, but it kind of gives you that Undertaker kind of feel.
Kind of feels like they stole my stories from Main Event, to be honest with you.
You're feeling ripped off.
Don't know, just kind of...
It wouldn't be the first.
Just kind of feel surprised of like a little bit. Like I was like, oh, all the stuff that they're doing at the moment, just think to myself, feels a bit like my stuff. I like
But
made
take
like
credit for it.
I like made Bray Wyatt go supernatural on Universe. It's just like
Super,
the only thing that he can't do, the only thing that my Bray Wyatt can't do that I've seen in other Universe modes. I'm not taking a dig before anybody thinks I am. Is he can't teleport?
Hang on, what?
He can't teleport.
Is he been teleporting
I've
elsewhere?
seen a Universe mode where he teleports. I'm not taking no digs. I'm just saying he can teleport.
I kind of dig that. I like teleporting Bray Wyatt.
I don't know how he does that. Anyway, like I said, I think it's good. I'm loving all the Braun Strowman stuff, and with the choke out, and then it's like, oh, I'm gonna get you, but no, I've disappeared. I think it's really good. That, like you say, it's those elements that kind of a bit from the Attitude Era kind of stuff that we were used to before, and then they kind of erased all of that, and then they only made like the Undertaker have supernatural ability. It was like, I like all that stuff. It's different.
It's good. It just kind of breaks the show up when you've got like different things and it's not all one like continued thing. What I would say, touching on Bray Wyatt and things, did you see the image that was posted on WWE.com that kind of spoiled the partner for Night of Champions?
No.
I don't know, like, I haven't seen this on the website itself, but I've seen a lot of people posting the picture.
Oh, you're talking about who the partner was. Yeah. It's just clicked. NXT guy?
Yeah, I don't really want to spoil it, like for anyone that hasn't seen it. But I like the way that they're sort of having Ambrose and Reigns team up with people at the minute, and then they're making a point of taking that person out.
Yeah, but they might change that plan, so I wouldn't get so thought process that it's going to be that guy.
Would you be happy if it was that guy, or would you prefer someone else?
I don't really get why it is that guy. If we're gonna go there, no idea why. Why would it be this guy? Why? He's not really. I don't really think it's worth. I think that could be a failure if they go down that route with that guy.
But my issue is like that guy. We'll keep saying that guy, but he's always been portrayed as someone that's out for himself. So having him like in as the I guess the Shield like 2.0, it doesn't make a lot of sense that way.
But I don't really. Yeah, I think he's a loner, and I don't think that I don't think he's got the personality to go with those two.
We're not talking about CM Punk, by the way.
Are we not? Oh.
I can't say being Punk.
I don't know. I don't think that guy's the right guy. But if they're going to go there, then it'll be interesting to see how they do it. But yeah, I was a bit surprised when I saw it. I don't know about you.
Do you think it could lead to Shield 2.0 and this being like a continued thing?
I don't want to see that. Do you want to see the Shield 2.0 without the same people? I don't. It reminds me of what some certain people say in the business. Once it's been done once, it's not very good to revisit it. It's never the same.
I don't really want to see it again unless it's like the original guys. But at the same time, I could see why they would put them together, even just as like a temporary run, just to go up against the Wyatts, because you've got like 3. Maybe 4 members further down the line. But at the same time, I would prefer to see the Wyatts go up against the Dudleys. I think that'd lead to like some incredible matches.
I think that the Wyatts should go down the route that we said originally on We Talk. I think that they should keep recruiting. I think that Eric Rowan should come back to them. I originally thought that possibly Eric Rowan was going to be the partner for these guys for Ambrose and Reigns, but they probably not going to go down there. But if they had done that, I would have had Rowan stitch them up. I'd be worried if they bring back Rowan to face them. That would be so annoying. I think that they've really got to keep building the family and then have a reveal with Sister Abigail, maybe a higher power. It's there now for the taking because they've gone down that route of making them look powerful. He's got to bloody win. That's another thing. They have to win. I don't care if Roman Reigns and Ambrose maybe are owed a victory or something. It's not. No. They have to win this.
What I would love to see is just like them keep recruiting people into the family, so that you keep getting all these like superstars that get taken out and then written off TV, and then eventually we get like an angle where like the Authority in the ring, all these hooded people turn up after the lights go out, and it's all these superstars that they've inducted into the family, and the Wyatt family just kind of take over Raw.
Well, I think that they should be pinpointing the weaker ones, like we've always said, like your Bo Dallas, people that don't really have a place, and he should be like brainwashing them and saying, you have a place in the family, and then that's the next one, and then that's the next one, and it's like you say, that could be the culmination of it. I don't think it's that difficult, and I think it's a really good way to make Wyatt look super powerful. It could even end if, let's say, Sting captured the gold in a Wyatt championship run where he takes over.
Yeah, absolutely. And that would be like great to see, like just that as well.
The image of him, with everybody surrounding the ring, with Sting, with the championship in the middle of the ring, like pretty much you ain't got a chance of defeating this, to me would be a good way to do it. And again, it's the use of a legend. Yes, maybe Rollins drops the belt, but it's the use of a legend to enhance another superstar. And I think the Bray Wyatt reign has been shouting and crying out for a long time now. And they've dropped the ball so many times, it's been a worry that it's never going to get there. And it feels like at the moment, this is the opportunity, so you don't spoil it this time.
Yeah, absolutely. The ball's bust at this point.
Exactly. So last but not least, on this week's We Talk, kind of went off on a little bit of a tangent there, but I think it was well warranted. He's back to something that I don't really want to talk about, but I feel we have to talk about it. But I'm kind of glad that we're talking about it, because we could be saying that this is over. I feel sorry for her. Let's get that straight away on the cards. Lana's injured, so, she's been... I mean, I don't think anybody doesn't know this by now, because she's been publicising it quite a lot. Is this the end of the Dolph Ziggy Wiggy Wiggy and the Rusev Face storyline? Possibly. I hope so. That's my view. What do you think?
I'm going to say no. Oh. I don't want to disappoint you, but I know she's had like major surgery, and I'm glad to see that she's pulled through. It's been such an ordeal. But let's put it in this perspective here. She's only hurt her wrist, so how does that keep her off TV?
By the sheer posts on Instagram that she's been putting over, and the paragraphs that she writes for her Instagram saying that it's, she's worked so hard for this, she's training every day. I believe it's a serious injury.
But how does it keep her off TV? She's not wrestling.
I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I'll put it out there, because probably Lana as a character, everybody's like, oh, well, everybody loves Lana, but I think that's because they love her because of the way she looks. You can't tell me that this is the character that you love on the basis of the character she plays week in, week out. The character that she plays at the moment, from my point of view, and my point of view only, is that it's awful. I cannot be bothered with her character anymore. I liked her character when she was the stern Russian that took no shit. That was the character that came in and that everybody really rallied behind, because we hadn't seen that from the Divas division before. We hadn't seen a manager for quite some time come in and be like that, bar you like Paul Heyman, but we hadn't seen a woman be that sort of character. And she generated real lot of heat by being that. The whole transition into her being a face, I just feel that her character got completely lost, and I can't believe that anybody thinks the character's good. And I think that the fact of the matter is that people just all warm towards her because they just fancy her.
You Lana hater.
It's not though, is it? You tell him, all right, you give me a positive of what she's produced over the last few weeks. What has really made you think, oh, do you know what? Lana's been amazing with what she's been doing with this storyline at the moment with Summer Rae and Dolph Ziggler and co. What is it?
Let's dial it back a bit. I don't know if I'd say amazing, but at the same time, I think like it's good to see her get physical for a change. That's the one thing that kind of needed to happen.
Physical? What? Just every week running and tackling somebody? And
yeah, but obviously they had a plan in place to lead into Night Champions in a match, but due to the injury, that's kind of scuppered that plan now. So I like that side of it, and the fact that she was not letting Ziggler do everything for her. She was taking it in her own hands and taking out Summer. So I think that kind of got her a little bit back on track. I didn't like the Lana that was just standing around waiting for Ziggler to do everything, and being so in love. Where I think recently we had a little bit of a change, and I started to like the character a bit more again. But in terms of what she used to be, I don't like her as much as I did. But I think it was getting better. It's just a shame that the injuries happened now, and we're not going to get like the end to this that we're probably hoping for.
I tell you where I get to with her is I'm getting the way that I am with Paige with her. It's too much. Do you not agree with me that them two are becoming a bit too much? Like, they're just so out there. If anything you look for, it's always like I don't know. Maybe it's just the way that I see things, but I just think that Paige has become like they've invested a lot of time with Paige, and I liked the other version of Paige that came in before she became so, blown up, egotistical sort of Paige, because I think that version of Paige to me is a bit too much. It's everywhere. It's Instagram, it's Twitter, it's everything. And then it's like Tough Enough. It's like, and it's just, it becomes too much. People complain that Roman Reigns was rammed down your throat. So that's the way I've got a bit bored with like a Paige. And I'm glad that like someone like Sasha Banks gives her a comeuppance. With Lana, I'm getting the same way because there's too much Lana.
It is. Like, I'll agree with you on that point. But at the same time with Paige, I kind of got bored of her when we had like the constant matches for the title with Paige. So like the Divas thing freshened things up. But then again, it's kind of got a bit stale. The Tough Enough thing has hurt her because her character has come across as like a really kind of mean character and not like what I thought Paige was. But when I see her on SmackDown this week, I think that's the like first time I've been interested in Paige a bit more with what she's done with Sasha, because it kind of turned it all into a brawl and it kind of just freshened it up a bit. I like to see that side of it. And hopefully it leads into like that NXT style match that we'd all been hoping for between the Divas with Sasha against Paige.
Yeah, I think that'll freshen things up, but I think that's just my sort of example. It's like the constant repetition of "this is my house." It gets lame. There's nothing else to it. It's like a one-trick pony. There's nothing else. Like, I think where you compare Sasha Banks, she's got a lot more. She can definitely say a lot more things. There's no Paige promo that I'd say was like smashed it out of the park. Don't know where we're going here with this, but I've decided to go down the route, so I might as well defend it.
You're hitting everyone today. Like, you could say the same thing about a lot of people, though. We've just talked about Ryback and the whole Feed Me More.
Yeah.
That's exactly the same. Just Paige's version's It's My House.
But there's got to be more than that. That won't make you a legendary superstar. She's just found herself in the right place at the right time. I'm going to get well as of bad comments now.
You're digging yourself deeper here.
I'm not disliking Paige.
You're disliking Paige. You're disliking Lana. I'm sure you're going to hate on the Divas Revolution.
No, I'm not.
You're going to tell us you love Nikki next.
No, not really. She's not that bad a wrestler though. But I'm not hating in terms of Paige as her ability and stuff in the ring. I just think her character became boring, and then what they did was they, like I said, you agree with me with the Tough Enough stuff. They just made her into something that she doesn't come across as that what she is, and I just kind of was like, I really don't like you now. The Tough Enough stuff kind of really just made me think, wow, not fan now.
It's just like the Tough Enough thing. It had to be done where it didn't have to be done, but I think they've probably felt like it had to be done to have like that side of one of the characters come across, like the Simon Cowell kind of thing.
But she's not the person to do that. It's
well,
just
we all
not
know
her
that.
gimmick. It's just
Did you watch on Austin's podcast?
No.
I was going to say, what did you think of on there? Because even like some of the times on there, it was more Tough Enough Paige.
Well, and this is what I'm going down the route of. She's becoming that. That's I don't like. Why can't she just be the normal version of Paige that we saw originally, the good one that wrestles well and just does it?
The nice girl that we all loved.
It doesn't have to be nice. You can have a mean streak, but you don't have to be a douche about it, you know? That's the way she came across on Tough Enough. She was so douchey to people. Like it's like if you take a jab at her, she'd jab at your back. And these are like people, and like when they even got eliminated, it was like, see ya. It's like,
would you prefer if she was a heel though, and that was like heel Paige?
Probably it would work, yeah.
So we'll just switch her heel, and that'll solve the problem.
And I'd say that's why, like with a Sasha Banks, you get away with it because she's like a proper hard ass heel. And that's what I mean, though. it didn't match her persona to let that be done, and that's why I kind of don't like it, because it's like people are supporting her, and I just think she comes across douchey.
Well, maybe that's like the way they're going though with it. Like they'll put her across that way, and like all the things with Sasha not getting that like title match,
Should turn
then
on her.
it's going to lead her to like turn on the rest of her team. And I think that's probably like the best thing we can have with Paige, because we haven't really seen like heel Paige in like the main roster. So
Well, they
I would prefer
tried,
to see
didn't they?
that.
They tried it a little bit with AJ Lee, and it just kind of come across weird.
They did, but like Paige was just coming through then, so like everyone was still kind of behind her because she was new and fresh to the division.
Well, just to get back to Lana, and because obviously we did go off a bit with Paige, and
You did?
Yeah, I did, but it's just I don't know what it is. There's something about the two that I just feel there's too much of. That might not make sense, but
There's too much of both of them. Like
it's just there's
exposure on TV.
Yeah, it's probably but not just that. Social media, everything. It's too much. Like, I think to myself with like the whole thing with like all the bikinis and stuff. I'm not knocking it. It's like, it's all right to see. It's nice to see, but it doesn't enhance her as a character. I think that's probably what I'm trying to get at here. Is when I look at Lana, she was supposed to be this Russian, and she was supposed to be quite, stern and stuff. And and I know that's her character, and maybe it's like, kayfabe, all that sort of stuff. But then you go and look at her Instagram. It's nothing like the character.
Well, I've still got like WWE.com open when you mentioned like the one more match thing. And on there it's got like 50 best diva Instagrams, and like Lana and Paige are like right front and center of it.
And that's why I find it hard to, and I guess I'm going back to like the old school where you should keep your character a bit more.
It's really hard to do that though, because like, if we talk old school and Attitude Era, then you only had like Raw and SmackDown like as your two main shows.
You didn't
have Twitter, all the reality stuff. So it was really easy to kind of like stick in character because people weren't seeing you like during the week. Whereas now, like everything that you do and say is out there for the world to see. So it's really hard to stay in character, especially when like for someone like Lana, like this powerful Russian, it's like you can only like put out these like storyline kind of comments on Twitter. So it stops you from being yourself.
I'll ask you one final question and for the We Talkers as well. Because I might as well, I'm already expecting that people will be like, oh, you don't like Lana. And it's like, it's not really, I don't really
Diva here.
Yeah, but it's not that I don't like Lana. I think Lana's all right. I just think her character's been completely lost. And Paige, I just find it's a bit too much at the moment. So maybe if we back off, even Team PCB, it's just basically Team Paige.
Oh, you're hitting all PCB now?
No, I love Becky Lynch. I think she deserves to be more in the mix a bit more, pushed out there a bit more, to be honest with you. I don't really like Team PCB. I'd just like them to all be singles competitors. What's so bad about that?
That's not too bad. Before we get your question then, speaking of PCB, Charlotte takes on NIKKI on Raw. How do you think this could be the time she loses the title?
No, I don't think she's going to lose it. Don't think she'll lose it now.
They've said if she makes it to the end of Raw, she ties AJ's reign. So I could see them kind of like trying to get the match called off or delay it as late as possible on Raw. I could actually see it main event in Raw.
Yeah, and then having the clock tick over the time or something like that.
I don't know. I think like the very few seconds left, I think Charlotte's going to win it.
I'd rather see Charlotte win it.
I would love it. I think it'd be a great time. It's the perfect opportunity to have the Divas main event Raw.
Yeah, I'd like Charlotte to win it. I think it opens up the door to more, and we can maybe do away with the whole Team PCB stuff, because I think then jealousy would come into play, and it'd be like, I should be champ, you got the opportunity, I didn't. So yeah, I think that would work better. Do you want my question now?
Go first. I'm waiting first.
So you tell me, right, 5 things, bar the Russian gimmick, what you like about the new version of Lana. And none of them have to do with looks.
Right. I like that she's committed to the Russian accent. I like that.
Is that not including some Russian stuff there?
No, that's like committing to the accent. So I like
you
that.
You like that, yeah? Right,
yeah,
cool.
I like the fact that she's getting more physical.
That's debatable as well.
I like the fact that she's in love. Everyone likes a bit of love in the life.
Bollocks you do. But there you go. Go on. Keep going.
I like the fact that
Come on, you ain't got 3.
she's standing up to Rusev, and
Is she though? She's crying most weeks.
she's still standing up. She's not sitting down.
Right.
And I like the fact that, you know, she believes in a man, and she's not.
Does she though?
She's not letting these lies like completely spoil what the good thing that's going on for her.
Does she though?
There you go. There's 5 things.
She seems to storm out on him quite a lot, so that's kind of jaded as well. What I'm trying to get
I
at
totally
here,
believe it.
what I'm trying to get at here is it's very difficult for people to find really good, significant things that they like about Lana.
That was so easy.
It wasn't though, was it? Because you're totally bullshitting me that you like her being in love. BS.
Well, I'm happy for her. I think they make a great couple. Did you not see like the thing they done, like highlighting like how the hottest couple of the summer?
We're serious.
No, they did that. That was like one of the clip things. You obviously haven't been paying attention. That's why you hate the angle.
There's nothing to like about the angle. But the thing is it's like I said to you, I would like the old version of Lana back. I think that's the best version. I just think there's a lot of like Lana lovers out there, and it's just purely on looks. It's not... everybody likes the way Lana looks. That's absolutely fine. But you can't just justify somebody on looks. Isn't that the whole point of the Divas Revolution, is to look at other things?
Well, I'll agree with you. Like, I totally would prefer the old Lana back. But it's just, how do you get to that now? It's going to be so hard to do that because they've kind of ruined it.
Well, they've obviously got to ruin it. I know they've got to ruin it because they've got to get to the old stage where she's American, and then they can start using her on all the covers and all this sort of stuff that they want to do things with her, get her in bikinis more often. That's what she's going to become. I don't think she's going to become this amazing wrestler that she keeps hyping about. Do you? I'd like to see it.
She's already doing the bikini stuff. Look at WWE.com. Look at Instagram.
Yeah, see, there you go. So, I don't know.
It's a mess. That's what it is.
It is a mess. And like I say, it's nothing to do with Lana as the person. It's just the way that they've made her gimmick crumble. And I can't believe that you're being honest with your...
Crushed it.
I have crushed it, but I can't believe that you're being honest with your five positives. And I asked the We Talkers to give me 5 positives.
Hang on. You asked us to give you 5 positives. You didn't say anything about like whether I totally believed them or anything like that. So you just said give you 5 positives, so I did.
So you don't like any of those things that you quoted, basically.
I never said that. I just answered your question.
So when the We Talkers could give me their 5, you've also got to like the fact about them. And I bet you it's difficult to find because, as I say, 90% of the reason why people like Lana is because of her looks and stuff like that.
I think it might be hard to find 5, maybe 3.
I think she's an amazing... I will never discredit what she did to come into the WWE with the character that she had, with the Crush, with the Rusev gimmick. She just did a fantastic job. And it was all the things that WWE wanted to promote. A strong, powerful woman. All of that stuff was what they needed for the Divas Revolution as well. The strong, powerful woman. But they just... They went like completely the other way with her. They just kind of... They're trying to have a revolution. They got like this woman that looked really weak.
Well, if they want to like keep that character and sort of separate her from Rusev, I think the best thing they could have done would have put her in charge of the Divas. Yeah. So she was like the general manager for the Divas, and she could like still have that position of power and be the person in charge.
There's still plenty of ways to make her an active diva. You look at something like where TNA kind of did the thing with Taryn Terrell. She was the referee for a bit, and then she kind of filtered into the Divas division, and now she was like one of the top talent there. There's still ways you can work her in. You didn't have to give her this soppy storyline to do it.
Yeah, you don't want to be a referee, though. She'll break her wrist.
See, now you're just taking the piss.
I'm just looking out for her.
Anyway, I hope the We Talkers understand my logic here. It's asking for a better version of Lana, not one that we just all like because she wears bikinis, which is quite nice to look at, but that's not the be-all and end-all of things when it comes to wrestling.
It's not.
It's not. It's not. And I don't even think that's a rant. I think that's just being honest.
I think you got more worked up over that than you did TNA, which kind of surprised us.
I'm not really worked up. I just kind of like chilled out, Just kind of felt it needed to be talked about today.
I don't know, when you mentioned Paige...
Yeah, but I don't know what it is with Pat. Maybe it's because she's feuding with Sasha Banks, and I really like Sasha Banks.
See, that's the reason.
Yeah, I think that we'll end it on that. Anyway, everyone loves Sasha Banks, so now everyone can be positive about the comments that I've said.
Yeah, we'll get behind that.
Sweet. Anyway, you got any shameless plugs this week to give the Wii Talkers?
Well, we've had quite a few clips from 2K16 come out, so I've been covering them with news on Smack Talk's channel. And if you want something different, then check out Smack Talk's Extra channel, as I've been playing through Until Dawn, which is an absolutely awesome game. So that's well worth watching.
Awesome. Yeah, I've actually got that, but I haven't started playing it yet, so I will start playing it. And make sure you get heads up by watching Smack Talk's hiding like a baby and whatever else he does when he's playing this game.
Well, you can't see it, but you can hear it squeal a bit. It took you a year to play GTA. Like, when are you going to play Until Dawn?
Tonight, if I get main event done.
Yeah, you'll be editing tonight.
I can't wait to play it. I think it's really good. It's my favourite game of all time is Heavy Rain, so I've heard it's got a little bit of that tie to it in terms of the way it plays, not so much the story, but yeah, all good.
It is. It's similar. Like, the story, it's all about the story, and it has such an amazing story.
You would be well surprised if you knew what my favourite games were, to be honest with you. It's not really like just WWE games. Did you ever play the point and click games like Broken Sword and stuff like that?
I played a few of them, yeah.
See, I loved Broken Sword. That's like one of my favourite games of all time. See, I like stories.
Taking us by surprise, you've already mentioned Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, see, I like all stuff with good storylines. It's just difficult to get around to playing them because all the time you just spend your life like editing forever.
It is the one downside.
You know, if I could just play all games, and what I like to do. I don't know about you, but I like to get a good few hours on it. So it's not like I can't play it for 20 minutes and then put it down. I want to play consistently to understand what's going on.
You've got to commit to it.
So but anyway, that's enough about me whinging about things. Let's get back to anything else? Austin promo? Anything else?
Yeah, maybe check out Smack Talk's channels. I've got an Austin trailer that I've edited together. So that should be up sometime over the weekend.
Awesome. I've had a sneak peek. It looks very good.
It does. It looks better than what 2K did.
Ooh, that's a bit big-headed.
Well, it's only because it's got gameplay in.
Yeah, no, go check it out. It's going to look awesome. From my side, Bray Wyatt dropping some promos for main event, so make sure you check that out. Try and decipher what he's talking about. That's what I'd like you guys to do if you get the opportunity. Tell me what Bray Wyatt is hinting towards on Saturday night main event. And obviously you've got main event tonight. Last week was a bit of a shocker with an epic return, and I think we're going to elaborate on that a bit more this week. So make sure you do check it out. That kind of brings us to a close.
Sounds good.
Boom.
Lots to check out.
It is. See, who says that we don't give people lots of content?
Absolutely. There's plenty there. No one can complain.
Exactly. So people get involved on this week's We Talk, and you can say my controversial comments about Paige and Lana and whatnot. But at the end of the day, it's all about your opinions. Nobody's right, nobody's wrong. And it's just good fun to hear what everybody thinks about things.
Absolutely. It's always good to hear different sides, and no one's ever going to agree on everything. So it's interesting to read the comments.
And it's always good to hear Paul doing Ryback impressions. I mean, that's probably one of the favourite bits of the week.
Yeah, but considering I've got a bad throat, I kind of pushed myself.
Oh, so it can get better, can it?
If you watch me Until Dawn, I'm sure I've got a Frozen cover in there as well.
Frozen?
Yeah. Do you want to build a snowman?
You sing Frozen songs?
What's wrong with that? You say it like it's a bad thing. You had to lighten the mood. It's a scary game.
Why are you singing Frozen things by playing Until Dawn?
It was late at night. I was trying to stop myself getting scared.
So he was going, let it go. What was he doing?
Nah, that's the wrong song, mate.
I don't know. What's that from then?
That's also from Frozen, but that's a different song.
See, that's as much as I know about it. See, I don't know. I'm not down with all that kind of Disney shit.
Disney shit. Disgraceful.
Awesome. Anyway, yeah, if you want to check Paul playing a character from Frozen whilst playing Until Dawn and singing Frozen songs, it's definitely worth going and checking out his second channel. I think I've sold that $1 million.
Yeah, I may have to edit it out now.
All that's left to be said, guys, is please rate, comment, and subscribe. Are you going to catch us later?
I'll catch you later.
Yes, this is Delzinski and Smack Talks for another We Talk weekend. Signing out.
Hi, wrestling fans and gamers. Velvet Sky here, and I just want to say I've been hearing a rumor that Delzinski.com is the best place for video gaming and wrestling content.